Let's go.
Good morning and welcome to the Customs 101 webinar this Tuesday morning. My name is Jacqueline Nemodek from the Customs Department, and I am joined by three panelists: Marjorie Nakato, who is the Supervisor, Application Support; Susan Nakalea, who is the Supervisor, Business Process Analysis; Nambafu Scovia, who is a Customs Officer. And this morning, we shall be discussing understanding the automation of the private treaty. So let's dive right into it, and I'll be moderating this conversation. So we shall begin with an understanding of the automation of processes in the Uganda Revenue Authority. Since 2020, the Uganda Revenue Authority has embarked on a digitization journey of all or most of its processes. And of recent, one of those processes has been the private treaty. So I would like Susan to give us an overview of this journey. Susan, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Jacqueline. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to represent the IT and automation teams. I'll start by asking myself or ourselves, imagine a scenario where you've launched a product and people are questioning, was anyone informed? Did anyone engage the users? Was anyone involved in the new processes? Of all the issues that have been automated, of all the issues that we are looking at, is this the most critical issue for us to automate? Has it solved our problems or our needs? These are questions that we keep on asking. And once our stakeholder asks such questions, then you know there is a problem. There's something that we did not do. So for us to be able to respond to the needs, to be able to come up with a process that works for everyone, that is efficient, that is simple, the teams have to go back and analyze the requirements that have been given. They have to get feedback, and we sit with the different stakeholders to do this. We are guided by the digital strategy. The digital strategy was launched in 2023, and it has a number of objectives. I'll just mention a few that we use or guide us to come up with the product that you are going to see today, that we are going to talk about today. One of it is we have to make it easy for the taxpayers to comply. So the questions we ask ourselves is, for example, the online private treaty. Is it easy for the stakeholders to use, both internal and external? Does it provide clarity? Have we looked at the needs that people have given us? Are they clear in this solution? It should be able to help us to develop a high-performing team, a team that will support the initiatives that come on board. And we should be able to detect who are these non-compliant taxpayers, and how do we treat them? How about the compliant one? Do we treat them in the same way as the non-compliant ones? How are we using the data that we have been given? These are critical issues that we look at each time we are re-engineering processes. We look at modernizing. Are we just automating the processes, the current process, or we are adding a feeling, emotional feeling in the processes, so that at the end of the day, we have a simplified tax experience for everyone who gets in touch with the processes that we come up with. We want to keep people interested. For example, is this online private treaty? Are people going to be interested? We would like to see more and more people taking part. We would like to have people informed. Keep people informed all the time. Awareness. This is what we are doing right now. We would like to keep people involved, whether they're external stakeholders, whether they're internal stakeholders. Each one of us, for as long as we are going to use this process, for as long as we are using this solution, we have to be involved. So how do we make you involved? And when we add all those three, then it should be able to inspire people to use our processes. So right now, as as my colleagues are going to talk about the new automation, at the back of my mind, I'm asking myself, okay, we've been cooking this for a long time. Is it going to inspire people that are going to receive it? Is it going to change your business as we perform our duties? Changes for customs officers, changes for IT, changes for the clearing agents, changes for anyone who's going to interact with our processes. So I'm happy that this product is out, and we are having so many that we are going to bring on board. Thank you so much. At the end of the day, we are looking at simplifying a tax experience. What will be your experience each time we come up with an automation? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Susan. And the take home is simplifying your taxation experience.
Yeah.
And so now we are going to go to the business owners, the people that own the private treaty auction. And I'm going to take this to Scovia. Briefly give us an overview of what the customs online auction is about before we go down to the automation of the private treaty.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I'm so happy to be here. Customs online auction is basically the sale of goods online, and that decision is made by the customs commissioner customs.
Okay.
Yeah, and initially auction was done like manually. Yes, but with the new changes that have come on board here and there, there has been like public auction is now done online. It's for whoever wants to access it, you find it on the single window.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what is the private treaty? How is it different from the public auction?
Private treaty is a sale on short notice. It's very different from the public auction because the public auction you have to pay a fee, of which private treaty you don't have. It's free to participate. Now, initially, it has been, just like I said, initially it has been done manually. Clients have been coming at customs warehouse to create meetings, gathering, and whoever is interested in participating, that's how they've been like participating. But looking forward, why we are here today, we are moving forward to automation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Scovia, for that submission. What has been the challenge with that, with the manual process? What have been the challenges there?
There has been quite a number of challenges. Tracking audit trail has been one of the biggest challenges. And then the other challenge has been private treaty attracts fewer people. Since it has been manually, so it's usually the same people and the people around. So the people that have been participating have been few. And then the other thing, there has also been issues of transparency. Yes, and then also following up people on payment. Like you generate MPFs for people and then they go and some of them don't return. So it has been quite challenging. So I'm looking forward to automation.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much, Scovia, for that brief overview. And so we are going to go to Marjorie, given the current process and the challenges that we have been experiencing. What is going to change with the automation of the private treaty auction.
Thank you, Jackie. It's a pleasure to be here. Now, what is changing is, of course, when an auction ends, the public auction, there's got to be a plan for the private treaty. And for the private treaty, the viewing will take 48 hours, and the bidding will take one day, which is 24 hours. There's going to be an easy identification of the lots that were not sold in the public auction. Because the minute the public auction ends and the new plan is created, the old plan for the public auction will be automatically closed, and the status of the lots that will not have been bought through the public auction will get updated. Those will be two categories. The ones that are not paid, that is where a PRN was generated, but no payment was done, and the ones where no bid was placed, or where no bid was placed, or they were not sold, they were not paid for. Those, the statuses will automatically update. There are two of them, unsold and not paid. And then something else, just like Scopia said, there are no participation fees. Provided you have a tax identification number, you'll be able to take part in the private treaty. Then something else, with the private treaty, the rollover of the lot, because the PRN will be valid for 2 hours. Unlike the public auction, where it will be valid for 48 hours. For this, it will be 2 hours. The moment the highest bidder at that point does not pay against the PRN, a rollover.
Just for the viewers, PRN.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
A PRN is a payment registration number. It's a number against which taxes will be paid.
Yes.
Now, for the private treaty, if the 2 hours elapse and the PRN has been generated, that PRN will roll over up to the 5th highest bidder. In other words, people have to make sure they pay for those PRNs within 2 hours. Then something else that should be noted is the actual movement of the lots to the private treaty plan, because the time they are moved, they automatically appear on the auction site. That one will be done by the customs warehouse team. What we are doing is making it easy for them to identify what they are selling by the private treaty. So they'll move them from the old plan, public auction plan, to the new plan. And at that point, the running plan will be the one of the private treaty. But at each stage, whenever a bid will be placed, notifications will be going out to the highest bidder at that point. We shouldn't forget that the generation of the placing of bids will occur when the auction ends. Because remember, they're opening a plan. The viewing takes 48 hours, and the bidding will take 1 day. Those are 24 hours. Now, when the bidding ends, that's when the highest bidder will be able to generate a PRN. If payment is not done within 2 hours, a rollover happens. And even the forfeiture messages will be sent at a particular time whenever someone loses a bid.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marjorie.
You're welcome.
We are already in the future.
Wow.
Okay. So with all the changes that you have mentioned, Susan, would you kindly highlight the benefits of the automation of this process? She has already hinted on them, but kindly bring them to the light more.
Okay, thank you. Like she said, we've had auctioning used to be manual, where you have to invite people, please come. People have to leave their offices if they have to buy things. They come here, then they do the bidding. But with automation, we are telling people that you can stay where you are, you can view the items where you are, you can bid. For this particular one, you have to be very fast. That's the only difference, is that either you must have some money or money on you, so that by the time the 2 hours elapse, you're ready to pay. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for us to have it a longer period. Then there will be no difference between the public auction and the private treaty. So one of the benefits is we are simplifying it for you, and it's a transparent. We are trying as much as possible to make this so transparent to everyone. If you are going to receive messages for feature that sorry, your time has elapsed, please don't continue. And this wasn't the case, because then we didn't know. Then you'd find people paying twice. You'd find some goods not there, even someone has already paid for them. So with this automation, that will help us to know which ones have been bought, how much money has been paid in the 2 hours, 2 days. You already know how much and who actually has paid for what, for as long as they have a team.
Okay, thank you very much, Susan. Scovia,
Yes.
as a customs officer in the warehouse, how is this going to make life better for you and for your clients?
Automation is going to make life much easier. One, there is going to be transparency, which has not been the case in the past. And then it's also going to be easy when we generate MPFs. It's easy to follow up.
What's an MPF?
The PRN, when you generate the PRN and the person made the highest bidder, who it will be easier for us to follow up, since if you've not paid within the expected time, it rolls over. That's really an advantage for us to make people like be serious with what they want. And then another thing, definitely we shall realize revenue, because in the past few people have been participating, but now here, since it's online, people will be participating at their convenience. I'm in my house, I'm in Gulu, I'm in Arua, I'm able to participate in the private treaty. And then another thing is record keeping. It will be easy if you want to know maybe what happened, like next year you want to know what happened this year or what was lotted, it will be easy for record keeping, and thus also audit, to keep for audit trail. It will also be so beneficial, and as a result we shall also be able to realize our revenue for this financial year as Customs Warehouse.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Scovia. So the take home is transparency, convenience, record keeping,
Efficiency.
and
Efficient,
efficiency, all-round efficiency. So what are the expectations for the users? Marjorie, I'm going to throw this at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. About the expectations, of course, we've gone online all the way. The loading is going to be done in a Scuda world by the Customs Warehouse staff, and the participants will be able to take part in the auction, that is the bidding, viewing and bidding, on the single window portal. We shall share a site. Customs planning will share the guide. It has all the details, because our users have to follow. Then something else, we as URA, we always want to follow up on what has been automated, and it's mainly data that helps us with that. Generation of reports will help us with that. Following through of the lots that were not sold through the public auction and now they've been sold through the private treaty will be easy with the help of our reports. And also, it will be able for us to identify on which plan was this lot sold. No, was this lot first placed in the public auction, and on which plan it has been taken on the private treaty, and at what price it has been taken. And then the fact that when payment is done, because just like the public auction is, the moment the bidder pays against a lot, they're able to go and print the exit note from the single window portal. It will be the same thing with the private treaty. There's nothing like having to work and customs is following up on whether the person actually paid, because there was no clear integration between the single window portal, and actually between Askuda World and the MPFs, whose payment registration numbers were generated from the URA portal. But with this, the process will be flowing seamlessly.
Okay, thank you very much, Marjorie. I would like to remind the viewers that you could submit your questions right now so that I can give them to the panelists to help us answer. Susan, would you like to add on to what Marjorie just submitted?
Oh yes. For the expectation, we are looking at feedback. When we roll out solutions and you give us feedback, it helps us to improve, because one of our objectives is continuous improvement. So we look forward to people giving us feedback, whether this is the way we should go, where we can improve, and you can only give us that feedback if you're using the system. So we are also looking at usability, adaptability of this system. How many people are able to use it? If we had a number of, for example, for the private treaty, if 2 or 20 people were participating, when we automate, how many people are going to take part in this? That gives us joy, because then we know that we are on the same page with the stakeholders that are using the system. So it's important for us to get the feedback. It's important for you to use the systems and have the feel. And like I said, we are looking at bringing solutions that inspire people. When you are inspired, then you will use the solution. Then we shall improve on our productivity. We shall improve on our revenue. We shall improve on our processes, and everyone will win. So it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Susan. Would you like to add, Scovia, any expectations of the users? Okay, the team has ably handled. Okay, so we have a question, and I believe this is just for clarification. Has the private treaty auction replaced the public auction? Marjorie.
No, the private treaty auction has not replaced the public auction. The thing is, just like Scovia said, currently when goods have been placed out to be sold under the public auction, the ones that are not bought have to be sold off under the private treaty. So the private treaty is not replacing the public auction. We shall still have both of them, but they can't run at the same time.
Yes, one runs after the other, and the private treaty has less time than the public. Yes, so that is it. That is it for the questions. Yes. Let me just check social media. No. Okay. Thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you very much to my panelists for this enlightening conversation. And thank you for tuning in. And any mass attendee says thank you for the presentation. You are welcome. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. Okay, there's another question. A great team and presentation. Marjorie and Susan are experts on this. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Flowers,
Yeah.
flowers. A question though, what happens when there is an issue of network? 2 hours for PRN expiry seems so short. Would you propose maybe 4 hours?
Okay, I'll answer that. For the beginning, just like Susan said, we as URA focus on continuous improvement. For the every process has a beginning. For the start, we're doing 2 hours. We request that within the 2 hours, the highest bidder who has generated a PRN, make sure they pay against it. For the beginning, it's the 2 hours. Then afterwards, because we always review what we have implemented and automated. If we find it fair, I'll use the word fair, with the customs users, because they're the process owners, to extend the period, we shall definitely do that. But for the start, it will be 2 hours.
Okay, thank you very much, Marjorie. There's a question that keeps coming up, and I think we are not properly dissecting the difference between those two, because it is the same question. What is the difference between the two, public and private? Can we dissect and break it down and separate? I
Okay.
don't know, make it easier to understand.
Okay, let me try to make that easier.
Private, public.
Okay, first of all, public, just like Scovia said, there's a public notice that runs for 30 days.
Yeah.
People have to get their goods from the warehouse. Then afterwards, how long is another one released before the actual auction happens?
Sorry, I beg your pardon?
No, there is a notice asking people to get their goods before
That
the
runs for
auction.
30 days, yes.
It does. Then do you publish another one, or it's just one for the public auction?
Only that one.
Okay, that's
after the
it.
30 days.
Okay, now I'm going to focus on the difference between the two. We already know they can't run concurrently.
Yes.
It's always one after the other. Now here is the difference. For the public auction, there are participation fees. Of course, for both of them, the participant has to have a team. But for public auction, you have to pay the participation fees. For private treaty, no participation fees. For the public auction, you have the PRN is valid for 24 hours. For the private treaty, it will be valid for 2 hours. Because remember, we said at the beginning of the presentation that the private treaty is shorter. So the PRN is valid for 2 hours. Then for the public auction, the rollover happens up to the third highest bidder in the event that the winner hasn't paid. For the private treaty, the rollover will happen up to the fifth highest bidder. I don't know if that's clear, because those are the main differences between the two. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Marjorie, for clarifying that. I hope we have clarified that, because that question has appeared about 3 times and we have really tried to break it down for you. I'm checking the question section and we have answered all the questions here. So if there are no more questions from the viewers, kindly permit us to end this webinar. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for submitting your questions. Just one more before we leave. Sorry.
Okay.
Kindly shine more light on the generation of PRNs. Is it going to be done by the officers at different stations or by an officer in the customs warehouse? Okay, we'd like to take
Yes.
that, Marjorie, yes?
Just like the public auction, the generation of the payment registration number will be done by the highest bidder. They'll log into it will be automatic. They log into the single window portal, shall share the actual link through customs planning, and it will be them in their profiles. When logging in, it's the credentials of the URA portal that will be used. So it will be the highest bidder generating the PRN.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Basically, we have brought the service to you, for you, to make taxation easy. Thank you very much for tuning in. That's it for the Customs 101 webinar this morning. Have a good day.